Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke. How you doing? Hope everybody's doing great. This video is about those new variables you can add to your home lab. Now, I've been out there on the YouTube for a bit, and it's getting a little dry. Plex platforms, Jellyfin, basically movies, images, ISOs, downloads, uploads, those things like that. Maybe some limited Docker, some Kubernetes, some software development, which is cool. But did you know that there is in existence here in these days a piece of hardware that resides, and I will try to source it out for you. I have something similar to it. I just can't find it now. Well, here's one. It's not exactly what I was referring to, but it's very close. And that is basically what we call a PoE output device adapter. So there's another device very similar to this that does not use PoE or can use PoE, but what it has on the back end is a USB output, and on the front end it has a Cat5 connector. And what it does, it will take any form of analog device or remote device interface. For instance, if you have like light controls in your house and you have an Internet of Things monitor station, you can plug that guy into here with a USB cable and give it an interface of an IP address, and your home server with the proper suite software can come up and connect to that device with an API. This is something that's going to grow over time, because if we can connect devices either through Wi-Fi or through secured LAN connections using PoE, depending on the role or the responsibility, you can basically bring anything analog into your home server and let the server run it. Now, I know I've said to you guys, be careful about how far you go with certain things and where you go with other things. But this is pretty cool. For instance, if you want to start playing with radio signal systems, or you want to integrate a ham radio system, or you want to do something where you can bring in analog detection, may it be on a cable TV system, or basically sat or bridge or radio, even citizen band. You can bring those things in, digitize it, funnel it through, and outlet into your home server, which can actually simplify a lot of things at what you do. Now, other things you can do, like you can integrate your robotics platforms so that they can have a set of routines to upload, download, and communicate with. You can also put what's called Internet of Things monitor devices, which basically you plug it into the house. It looks for all IoT things. That's your furnace, your sweeper, your whatever got internet connectivity, and it will monitor them just to make sure that they are present, and if they have problems, or if you integrate with those devices, they could actually determine if your devices have been compromised. There's all types of future for this kind of stuff, but today it's still pretty basic. The nice thing about this, that you can take your home servers, may they be as small as this little guy. This is a 5151 series HP micro server. It only works with, I think, an E3 processor. It only has 8 gigs. I'm trying to trick it right now into going to 16 gigs, but that's a different project. But you can have your devices coming in through interface connections like this, send the telemetry to here, and you can do some really impressive stuff, plus add additional security to your overall environment if you want. Not to mention that your security devices can also be integrated to the same platform. So with that being said, you can do a lot more with your home server than basically running some basic software packages that you download from the internet. This is where the rocks of the earth meet the dirt. When you can integrate to devices that can plug up to an IP conversion process and send all your telemetry by TCP/IP, you have the ability of being able to do quite a bit more. A lot more than you would normally think would be possible, believe it or not. The key secret here is to make sure that you understand the nature of how you've got everything set up, and say, how do I want to better enable my home, protect my home, do certain critical things that are important. Now, one very valuable thing that you can do is you can port interface a security system. You can also, if you do it correctly, using a Wi-Fi monitor bridge and an interface, you can also tag in monitoring systems for like children as you're monitoring a baby in a bedroom. Backups of that information are being sent to your home server so that if somebody was to do something terrible, and let's say, for instance, take your child and they destroy the camera, doesn't matter, it's too late. You've got evidence downstairs in the basement on your home server. That's an added security value. Your home security system. You can actually interface your home security system so it gives log telemetry and sends it by TCP/IP to your home server as what we call an SNMP service log managed service. There are a couple other versions of it. I know I'm old and I speak old language, but the point is syslogs will be able to be captured between all your different points back to your server, and if something occurs or you think something odd or is really strange, check your syslogs, then go to your security camera system and find that time gap that the thing was noticed, and you can turn around and get a good feel for how everything's doing. If you're more advanced and you're familiar with what we call infrared emitters, which look like this, kind of like this, they have an emission sensor and they send out an infrared spectrum, and they're looking for heat in the dark at night, and there's no lights on except for this guy who is gently listening to the night and can spot critters, people, things like that around and give that information to you in telemetry format. So with that being the case, this gives you a lot of more functionality for your home server, but yet I don't recommend that you in any way, shape, or form integrate AI to that equation for two reasons. One, you need a pretty hefty box, and specifically one that's got GPUs in it. And it's pretty intensive. So if you want timely responses from an AI environment, build that as a separate thing, but also VLAN it and separate it from the traffic of the house. You want to make sure that you segment your traffic loads and keep everything where they need to be. Don't go overboard. Don't do telephony. Don't do camera 1 through 10, camera 11 through 15. Don't do that because you don't need to. Not with today's bandwidths. But when it comes to things like server communication level stuff, that should be sitting in your home lab VLAN. Telephony can be out in the home of the house for like phone systems, things like that. And general normal access for like home use, cell phones, PCs, TVs, things like that can be in the home VLAN. That would be a good way to keep everybody in the right places. And, somebody coming in on one way wouldn't necessarily see the other VLANs unless you really wanted them to. Now, there's also something out there called double Wi-Fi. And double Wi-Fi is a pretty cool trick. It's where you could have a Wi-Fi environment, but your Wi-Fi creates another Wi-Fi under the water with a different set of credentials using the first Wi-Fi as a basic trunk. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that you can actually tell that second Wi-Fi, as unique as it is, to only communicate to your home server, which is important because the normal Wi-Fi that you've got in the area that's acting as your trunk doesn't care. All it does is provide a trunk of transfer speeds, and you get double security on your Wi-Fi environments because, frankly, in a nutshell, I am not a fan of Wi-Fi cameras at all. I would rather be BNC all the way right there. There's a BNC right there for you. Yeah, why? Because this is secure, and they got to get into the house to hack it. And at least they got to get to a cable or two to be able to hack it. It's more difficult. And the thing about, security is that the more difficult you make it, the less appealing it is to a hacker to try to attack. Well, for this short little blurb, I thought this would be really cool for me to be able to give you guys some additional questions about, hey, what else can you do with your home lab? And, that all lends to the last part. When you start to integrate devices for all types of reasons, may it be for scientific experiments or something else, you'll find out that you're going to come up to what's called an operational state. So what do I mean by that? Well, an operational state basically means that you're in an environment where one or two boxes are really important to you and you want to keep them up and running all the time. Now, if that's the case, then segmentation and VLANing is very important for you. Put your production in a secure place. Secondly, make sure you've got a small UPS, could be just a simple 450 with a USB cable to plug into those boxes. And those boxes will know that there's a UPS, and if it starts to experience loss of power, it will securely shut down your boxes and shut down everything properly so that you're okay. And so when the power comes back, you can power the unit back up and it resumes just where it was last, and you avoid the risk of corruption. So that's just something to think about when you start looking at how you can broaden your spectrums. And the other thing is, when I said scientific experiments, I saw a young man who was really brilliant. He had figured out how to make seismic sensors, and he did them in threes, sets of threes. You could either have 3 of them, or you could have 9 of them, or more. And what he built was a seismic array. And with the seismic array, and by adding the amount of his experiments to the equation, he had a focus lens that allowed him to accomplish things that you could see with NOAA and other government agencies that can track seismic activities within the Earth's crust. Pretty sweet, cool stuff. And he did it all with a local laptop, some analog digital converters, and USB cables. Imagine what you can do if you have, maybe an IP device or a Wi-Fi emitter set up that can do the same thing. So, really the sky's the limit, including the sky itself. You could set up 8K cameras up into the atmosphere and then capture that data in real time at high bandwidth and back to your home server, which is a lot of data, by the way. And then you can derelegate the photos for what we can't see, but the 8K camera can see. And then you can take all that data, strip out the photo, and take a look what's left. It's really cool stuff. Sky's the limit. Think about it. Nothing like making your gear work more for you, right? Well, this is Brad Dyke signing off. God bless and have a great week.